colour, as minorities, as people trying to fight to preserve our future and equity, as so-called activists, is that there's an expectation that we should give ourselves unreservedly to everything, whilst the systems of oppression, the people who benefit from our actions, our equity, our blood, our lives, in Sija's case, just get to sit back and enjoy. And I think there has to be a greater kind of balance, of a greater share of that responsibility and that burden. And so actually I really refrain from considering myself an activist, because I don't think that I'm an activist. I think I'm just a human that wants parity and equality and equity. And I don't think that I should have a special title or term. We shouldn't just have panels on equity when we talk about climate change. It should be an integrated part of a conversation across the board. And I think that, I don't know, I think when we look at, like, even just going to COP and seeing, you know, all of these world leaders and all of these big, you know, banks and media agencies talking about the environment, but creating really inaccessible events for people. People are being priced out, activists from the global south, indigenous people are being priced out of the city. The people that really are central to everything, we're being priced out of the conversation because, again, it's about how can we capitalize off the environment. I mean, it's such a shame. And I think one thing that I realized, especially in my work, was that we need to have a place. Not only do we need to be strong activists and be ardent in learning, preserving those cultures and stories, we also need to be able to translate those stories and connect with the stakeholders, the people in positions of power that can actually meaningfully engage with us, but also create that change. And so it's not just enough to be outside of those conversations. We have to work within the system. And for me, I guess the way that I manage all of that and these diverging interests is spending like prescribed amount of time on the field, or I'll go to Africa or I'll go to wherever I can in the world, immerse myself in the cultures of those people and learn about their stories. And then I'll also spend time, like I am now in London, working with think tanks, working with organizations that can show me how the systems and these processes work, so that I can advocate perfectly. I can write papers that are being written about topics and people and realities that never ever get the audience or the oxygen of publicity or the publication. And I think, you know, if we're going to think about inspiring the next generation of leaders, and people are going to defer to traditional education like universities to learn about climate change and equities, we need to make sure that there's papers, there's writings, and there's stories and perspectives from the communities that understand what's at stake here.